Hey, do you know what video this is? This is video number 100. Who would have thought that when we first started this conversation and I asked if I could mentor you and pour into you and share with you, that we would be at 100 videos? I never thought we would get there. But when we got to about 85, 90, I started thinking about 100. And what I would like to do is to celebrate and honor some of the men and women in my life who got me to where I am. And here's the point. No matter how old you are, no matter how many years in ministry, no matter how educated you are, how successful you are, you have to continually let men and women of the faith into your life. Let them mentor you and journey with you and speak truth into you and pour into you and shape you and mold you. I'm 50 years old and I've been doing this for over 25 years. And I was thinking about the men and women in my life who've helped make me the pastor that I am today. And it all goes back to when I was in 7th grade and my youth pastor, John Davey at the Pawnee Avenue Church of God there in Wichita. And he started to pour into me as a young junior high boy. John is since retired, but to this day, for me, it all starts with his ministry. I think of some Sunday school teachers as I grew up. And then I think of a guy named Steve Childs. This great story between Steve and I. And I was 13 and I was at a summer camp and Steve was the camp pastor and he was this young youth pastor. And that's where our relationship started. And over the years, we've just kind of crossed paths and reconnected. And I've always looked up to Steve and allowed him to pour into my life. And a few years back, Steve and I journeyed through a pretty hard situation in my life. And he just journeyed with me through that. Now, here's the cool part of the story that we're at now. My son Jordan is on staff in Oklahoma City with Steve, serving as Steve's youth pastor. A guy named Rob Jordan, a pastor who hired me right out of college, took a chance on me and just poured into me and shaped me and molded me and really taught me how to be an effective pastor. And then there was this group of pastors in Stark County, about 15 Church of God pastors there in the county that just poured into me and loved me and journeyed with me and spoke into me. And sometimes they would just take and throw me in the deep end of the pool. And some of those guys have gone on to the Lord and some of them are retired. But I think back often to the influence that those men had in my life. And then my staff at the Eaton Church, Jerry Reynolds, my one regret was I didn't get to serve with him long enough. He hired me and said, I'm retiring in 3 years. If I could have had my way, I would have been 7, 8, 10 years with that guy. He just kind of took what Rob had done in my life and continued that. And then Nathan Stewart, even though he was younger than me, man, I gleaned so much from that young man and I admire him so much. And then she wasn't a pastor, but she was on staff there. Karen Bryant, a woman who to this day speaks into my heart and to this day has permission to speak into my life. And I watched her and I gleaned a lot from just how she and her husband did life and lived life. There were some state leaders there in Ohio. Think of Esther Cottrell, who I served alongside, and guys like Tim Riley, who younger than me, but I served alongside, and then these two young guys that actually were in youth ministry when I was a youth pastor, Andy Hoover and Rob Ringwald, and it's kind of come full circle. They both are youth pastors now. In fact, my hat is off to you two. They are 20 years plus in youth ministry, and both have only served at one church their entire ministry career. And we went from being youth pastor and students to now we're colleagues and we're brothers and we do life together and you know, we're on the same page and they may not know it, but they have taught me a lot just by me watching them. Here's the point. You have to have mentors your entire life, your entire career. You have to have people who you allow to pour into you, to speak truth into you, to shape you and to mold you and to lead you and to guide you. I'm honored and humbled that I get to make these videos, that I get to speak into your life and into the lives of other people who've jumped on and watched these videos as well. I hope I'm a good mentor. I hope I'm teaching you good things and shaping you and molding you and preparing you for the ministry that lies ahead. But today, for 100, I'm thinking about and remembering and celebrating those men and women in my life. And so, with eyes wide open, I want you to think about the men and women who are in your life and the men and women who you want in your life. And maybe have a conversation and say, hey, brother or sister, can you pour into me? Can you love me? Can you lead me and guide me and grow me into the pastor that God has called me to be? Hey, I love you. Have a great, great Christmas season.